Hi guys, it feels like I haven't seen you in so long. I hope you all had a wonderful week. Before we get into our project today, I wanted to update you all on everything that's been going on here the last week or so. First and foremost, I wanted to say thank you. Thank you to everybody who reached out with your get well wishes. I really appreciate that. For those of you that aren't aware, last week I slipped on a piece of bird netting inside. My left leg went one way, my right knee went the other, and I landed on my right side. Fortunately, I didn't do too much damage to my knee except just kind of tweaked the muscles around it. So I decided to take the week off and just let it heal to be on the safe side. So if you see me hobbling around a little bit today, that's probably why, but I couldn't wait any longer to get back out here. I've been going stir crazy for the last week or so, and I'm just happy to be out here. It's a little chilly, but the sun is out and it's just beautiful. I can feel the sun behind me, and I'm just so happy to be out here. Second, again, I want to say thank you. Thank you to everybody who congratulated me. I don't know if I ever mentioned it or not, but at the beginning of the summer, I enrolled in the Master Gardener course at the University of Maryland, Montgomery County Extension. I completed the course and my volunteer hours, and last week I went and picked up my Master Gardener badge, and that was really exciting, and I was glad I was able to accomplish that. And so I posted a picture of it, and you guys were so sweet, and I just really want to say thank you again. I really appreciate all your support for me, for Mo, for Shuey, the channel. It's so overwhelming, and I'm loving the community that we're building here, and I hope we can just continue to keep it growing. Now, let's go into the garden, because the garden has been pretty wild the last 7 days. So we have had an insane amount of squirrel pressure and deer pressure, and they found the arborvitae hedge. It took them longer than I thought. It's been over a year, almost a year and a half since we planted it, but they finally found it, and they did some serious damage to one of the arborvitaes, which it's only one. I did have a spare, so I was able to replace it. I'm surprised they actually didn't mow the whole thing down, but let me show you what I've kind of jimmy rigged in the meantime. So one day last week, I came out here early one morning to let Shuey out, and that's when I noticed the deer damage on one of the arbs. It was actually the one in this spot right here. They had completely eaten half of it away, taken it all the way down to the leader. Fortunately, I had another one in a container, so I popped out the damaged one, replaced it with the spare, and you can't even tell. But you will notice that I've got garden stakes in the ground now, spaced every 2 trees, and I did put up bird netting and attached it to the little points on the chain link fence. This is just a quick, inexpensive way to keep the deer out for the winter. And I knew when we planted this hedge over a year ago that the deer would eventually find them. I'm actually surprised it took them this long, but emerald green arborvitae are not deer resistant. In fact, any arb that's in the Thuja occidentalis family is not deer resistant. If you're looking for an arb that does have deer resistance, look for any variety that's in the Thuja plicata family. Truth be told, I've got a new plan in mind for that area because I don't want to be fighting with Mother Nature. It's a losing battle. Now, let's go over to the vegetable garden and I'll show you some of the other stuff that I've done. And taking it easy means clearing off our entire patio and turning this empty little area into a spot that we can winter over all of our leftover plants and plants that we picked up recently from clearance. We have a whole bunch of 9-barks, some dwarf evergreens, some sedums, some standards, more evergreens, grasses, just a whole variety of things. And they're on the south side of our house, so they're gonna get full sun. We've got them huddled together against the house, so they will stay warm too, and I think they should be just fine. And with all of this activity going on while simultaneously trying to limit my mobility, it's no surprise that we're behind schedule. I still have fall cleanup to do. I still have ground covers and plants that I want to get planted. And I haven't even planted garlic yet. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to get the garlic in the ground. Garlic is easy to grow as long as you can provide it the conditions that it needs. Soil-wise, it likes a light, fluffy, well-draining soil, nutrient dense. Garlic is a heavy feeder. So when we plant today, we're going to amend the soil with a starter fertilizer fertilizer. If you don't have starter fertilizer, you can use an all-purpose fertilizer like Garden Tone. That'll be fine. We'll mix it in the soil, plant them, water it in, and that will get it through the winter. Then in early spring, we'll come back again in right around March or so, apply another application of Garden Tone, and we'll continue that monthly up until about a month before we harvest, which is typically around July 4th is when we harvest. Then we'll back off on the fertilizer. Garlic loves full sun. They need a minimum of 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight daily in order to form up a nice big head of garlic. If you have a spot that can provide that or more, they will be so happy. They also benefit best from consistent watering. So you want to make sure you're on a good, even schedule with your watering. You don't want to overwater and have the soil stay wet and rot the bulbs. You don't want to underwater and let the soil dry out and the bulbs shrivel up and die. So just keep an eye on your watering schedule, check the soil, make sure it's not drying out or staying too wet, and keep an eye on the weather too, because if you live in an area that gets rain, that counts as a watering application as well. There's also two different categories of garlic. You've got your hardneck or softneck varieties. Both of them to me taste pretty similar, but they do have their differences, and I'll explain all of that when we start planting. Last year we planted garlic in this bed, but we still had the fig tree over here, which was blocking a lot of the sun. So I don't think the garlic got the amount of sun exposure that it needed, because when we harvested in July, the heads of garlic were like the size of golf balls. So this year we're gonna plant in this third bed over here. The fig tree is gone, so this gets full sun from morning till evening. So I think this is gonna be the ideal spot for sun exposure, and I think it's just gonna hopefully do beautifully. So we've got two different varieties of garlic that we're going to be planting today. Both of them are hardneck or stiffneck. This is Music. This is German Extra Hardy. We've got our starter fertilizer. We've got our little hand trowel, and we definitely are going to be needing the kneeling pad today. So we're going to start first by amending our soil. I'm just going to add some starter fertilizer in. And then we'll just mix it all in. The soil is nice and fluffy, and I do have some leaves in here that have fallen, which I'm just going to leave in, as well as probably some roots from the previous plants that we planted. I'm just going to leave all of that in there. It can just help feed the soil. Okay, we'll just level it all out. So this is a head of stiff neck garlic, and it gets its name because this is its neck, and you can see how stiff it is. Whereas with a soft neck variety, the neck would be a lot more flexible and pliable. Also with a hard neck variety, you'll notice that the cloves form evenly around the central stem. With soft neck varieties, you'll get multiple layers of cloves growing alternately within each other. Also with hardneck varieties, they form a bloom stalk, also known as a scape. When you see that, you'll want to cut it off because that just takes away energy from the plant forming a bigger head of garlic. But you don't want to throw them away because you can cook and eat them. Also, hardneck and softneck varieties both store well, but from what I've been told, the softneck varieties store a lot longer than hardneck. So now to plant them, you want to separate each clove from the stem, like so, making sure to keep as much of the paper sheath on as possible because that actually is a protective layer. And this is the clove that we're going to plant. You can see the bottom flat part right here, that's the root end. And then you've also got this little pointy end. What we're going to do when we plant is we're going to dig a hole or a trench about 2 inches deep. We're going to plant it with the flat root side down. And then we're just going to backfill and cover it up. And that's all there is to it. But first we need to dig our trenches, separate our garlic, and then we can plant. And I'm just going to use my hand trowel to make our trenches. Now we're just going to separate our garlic. And if you come across any cloves that look like this or have any dark discoloration in them or are soft, just discard them because they just didn't store well, so they're not going to do anything. So we've got our first variety of garlic all separated. So to plant it, we're just going to take a clove, and this is the flat side or the root side, and you can just remember pointy side up, and we'll just put it in the soil 2 inches deep. We'll take another clove. We'll do the same thing about 4 inches apart, and we'll just continue on with each row, and then we'll just cover them up. And then we'll water them all in. I'm also going to cover the top with a layer of land and sea compost. This will give it a little bit of extra nourishment. And there you have it. One 3x4 raised bed fully packed with a fresh crop of garlic ready to go. I don't even know how many cloves I planted. I didn't even count, but my best guesstimate would be 48 plus cloves are in there. So we should hopefully have a beautiful harvest come next summer. They are all watered in. I did put a layer of compost on top, and I will come out later once the soil settles. I will come out, give it another little watering, and then I'm going to cover it with either netting or some cloth just to keep the squirrels out of it so they don't jump in and dig it all up. And that wraps up our project for today. Super happy to have the garlic in the ground and even more excited to be back with you guys. I promise in the future I will be a bit more careful where I step. And that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you in the next one. Have a great day. Bye.